What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics. This is going to be, say, a little bit of a rant video from me. It's also going to be some free advertising for my presser because I don't know. I kind of get tired of seeing these kinds of posts. I mean, you're all aware. Like, I like grading. I'm a fan of grading. I think it is a good addition to the hobby. I know that some people disagree with that. I am also aware that CGC, who is the main grader out there, has their problems as well. And if they're doing something that that's stupid or whatever, it's like, yeah, call them out. Like the bulging cases stuff, the bent inner wells, all that kind of thing. Like, call them out. But when it's you that's making the mistake, like there's enough things already that can be, called out there. You don't need to add things where it's actually you that's making, the mistake here, that just didn't do the necessary prep work on your book, and then you blame CGC. Okay? Like, this is the type of stuff. Like, I just saw a post recently on Reddit where they posted this book of this Fantastic 453, and they were like, oh, like, this is a 9.8 potential book. And like everybody in the comments is like, no, there's creases down in this corner. And the person just like fought back against every single person that said there were creases. It's just like, it almost felt like it was like an AI, like bot response or something, just because it was just, they were just ignoring everything. And there's like, I can't see the creases, like where they're in the picture. And it's just stuff like that. And it's like, that person, they're going to send that book in, they're going to get an 8.5 probably, or a 9 or an 8 or something like that. And then they're going to complain that CGC doesn't know what they're doing, and because they didn't get their 9.8. Same thing here. So this person says, wow, very disappointed with this grade. Not really sure if the grader was paying attention. Come on, CGC. And so this is a signed copy of Infinity Gauntlet #1, a newsstand, got a 9.0. Okay. And obviously, like, the first thing you do when you see somebody make a post like this is you jump over to the CGC page. You go over to CGC, you go to resources, you go to verify CGC certification, and you look up the cert number. You just see, like, okay, this is a Ron Lim, Jim Starling signed book. What are the grader's notes? Because a 9.0, you're probably going to have grader's notes. If it was like a 9.6 or something, like, you're probably not going to get grader's notes. Sometimes you do. Sometimes they surprise you. I've even seen them grader's notes occasionally in the 9.8. Like, every once in a while, you get that surprise. But the only thing you got to see here, it's polybag crease bend back cover. I mean, this is why you did not get whatever grade you thought you deserved on that book. So maybe this person sent it in because, I mean, if they did it for the signing, they probably used CGC pressing, and that was their first mistake. If you are going to send a book into CGC, you just have to get it pressed by. I mean, if you're a good presser, so be it. Like, you can do it yourself. But if you get this note, you are not a good presser. Right? Like, if you have that note, you are not a good presser. Now, if it's a crease that breaks fiber, you can't necessarily do anything about it. But if it's a bend, like, it's hard to say, like, for sure. You can't see it. This is the type of thing we will not be able to see this in the pictures. It's going to be something that you're only going to be able to see at an angle. Like, and I've looked at them. Like, you're going to see it at an angle in the right light. And so if you sent your book to a third-party presser and you get this note back, get a new presser. Okay. If you trusted CGC to press this, and that's the only thing you use, and you got this note, that was the price of learning that you do not use CGC's pressing. You send it to a third-party presser. Now, I get it. People always want to use their pressing, and I do recommend that. Like, if you're getting a signature, you have them press it again afterwards, after it was like handled or whatever during the signing. But the primary pressing that you do for that book should not be done by CGC. And especially if you have something like this, they're just known for not being all that great, and they're expensive. So this is why this book got a 9. Another perfect example for these, just so you know, like, if you're going to get books graded, another example of this is Ultimate Fallout 4. So if you go to Ultimate Fallout 4, this is GPA, just because I figured I could find one pretty quick. GPA, you go down to a 9, and you just start. I picked like one that was a little older, because people they just know to get these books pressed now. So you're pretty unlikely to come across this note later up here. It's probably going to be actually spine ticks or creases that are causing it here. But I had to go through about, 7 of them or something. I found one right here. And so this one here, you go Ultimate Fallout 4, got a 9, polybag indent center back cover, polybag indent center front cover. It's just a pretty standard thing. If you have a good presser, they will take care of it. And then you will not have that note. You will not get your 9, and you'll get whatever grade you think you actually deserve on the book. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the blaming CGC, when you didn't get the book pressed beforehand. I've seen too many posts where, like, I remember, and I've talked about this before, like, I remember this, somebody posted, they had like a YouTube thing, and they posted that they got a book back and they were surprised by the grade. And then they looked at the back cover and saw like a crease or something on their back. And they're like, oh man, yeah, we never took the book out of the bag, like the bag and board when we sent it in. And it's just like that kind of stuff. Like, you see people like complain when they don't check their books. So, okay. So that's my rant there about this. Like, if you're getting your books graded, get them pressed. There are some exceptions, if it's like a completely split spine, like stuff like that, where the pressing is not going to help the grade any, like, you don't need to pay for pressing. Like, there are certain books that I set aside where I'm just like, this book is not going to get anything from pressing or cleaning. I'm just going to send it in as is. But that's a very small percentage. Like, out of the 130 books or whatever that I sent in recently, I think like 4 or 5 I sent in without pressing. And so most of them I'm getting pressed if I'm getting them graded. So now for the free advertising, because people will ask, who do I use when I get books pressed and cleaned before I send them in? The primary person that I use is the comic book presser. And I think that's what maybe causes confusion sometimes when I talk about my presser, is that I say, I use the comic book presser, and they're like, oh, which presser do you use? And it's like, that is his name. It's the comic book presser. This is his website, thecomicbookpresser.com. You can submit comics through here or whatever. And so you can either have him submit through his account, his CGC account, or you can use your own account and, create your submission through CGC and send your form in with him, and he'll send it directly to CGC for you. Or I believe he'll also send them to CBCS if you want to do CBCS. I don't know for sure about CBCS, but because I always use CGC. But I use my own account. I create my submission through CGC's page, print it out, put it in there, send the books off to him. He presses them. He sends them directly to CGC. My first set of books are already at CGC. The second set, he's still working on. He does a great job. I'll tell you, like, the reason what I'm looking for in a presser is I'm looking for somebody that handles all eras of books. I want somebody that handles Golden Age, that has experience with Golden Age, silver, bronze, modern, because they all have different types of paper. They all press differently. They all take different levels of skill to do. You've got square bound books that have glue in them, all that kind of stuff that you want somebody that has that experience. And to me, it is worth paying someone, to do that. I know I could probably learn how to press, but I don't want to learn how to press. I don't want to spend the time. I don't have the space for it. I would rather send them to someone else. And I have sent well over, I think, 200 books to him, and I have been extremely happy. Now, there was, during the comic boom period, when everybody was busy, I also used impressive comic book pressing. And this is who Aaron, AA Comics, this is who he uses. I sent maybe like 50 or 70 books to him. This is who my brother uses. So he is also very, very good. He also does all eras of books, does high dollar books. Like, that's the other thing to me that I'm looking for. I'm like, I want this presser to have worked on books that are as or more expensive than what I'm sending them. And that both of these pressers meet that. They have, you'll see it on their pages. You'll see it on their Instagrams and everything. Like, they've worked on very expensive books, Golden Age through modern. And so he also did a very good job on the books that I sent in. So if you are looking for a presser, I highly recommend either of them. And you can tell, like, when you have long turnaround times, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, like it's because people like to use them. It's like people like to send them books. They've got a backlog of books to do. And so that means that they're getting a lot of business because they do a very good job. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about here. It's just like CGC's got enough problems without people having to make up problems. Like I said, like if they do other things like the bulging cases and all that kind of stuff, like sure, go out there and complain. I do too. But when it's something that you should have handled on your own, making sure you got the book pressed first, send it off to a third-party presser first before you send it to CGC. And these are two that I highly recommend. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully this helps you out if you're out there looking for a presser to work on your books. And I will see you on the next one.